Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live broadcast. We've got a great topic here. I'm Rick Vanover, and I'm joined by Kirsten. How you doing, Kirsten?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing good. It's a great day in Columbus, Ohio today. If anybody's joining us from Columbus, feel free to say hello, put it in the chat.
That's
Let's
right.
go.
Yeah, let us know where you're from on the LinkedIn chat. We got Christian and the Veeam social media team. We're going to have a little mechanism through the content here that will show on a digital map where everyone's from. So my request to you is light it up. And here's the map. We don't have anything, not yet. But we've got production team in Romania and Atlanta. Kirsten and I are in Ohio. So let's see what we can do to this map. So tell us where you are watching us from. So again, welcome. Topic today is Veeam Backup and Replication and Veeam ONE version 10A. So let's jump on over to the slides here. I've got a little bit of content that we've prepared for you because V10A is rather significant. And before I even get into what V10A is, I can understand for a lot of the listeners, it might be hard to interpret. What's the difference between V10A and V10? And then the cumulative patches that were out. And then if we were talking a year or two ago, we had update 4, update 3 of 9.5. Well, V10A introduces new capabilities, but also rolls in all of the things that were corrected since GA, right? And then if you go back to the other releases, the update 4s and 5s, that was a way to kind of get us almost ready for both major releases, but also prepping for V10. But anyways, we released V10A in a KB form, and it's going really well if you haven't seen the forum digest from Anton. But the reality is, I really have 4 different things that I asked in the poll. What do you want to know? And so Kirsten and I came up with these 4 topics. Do you want to know what's new and improved? Most of you, about half, said yes, you do want to know what's new and improved. We also wanted to go over how do you upgrade and what kind of technical info do you need? Very important because the two are kind of very related, those how to upgrade and the tech info too. And we're going to go through that today. And then also what's new with this other product, which is what's that other product called, Kirsten? That one you like?
Our favorite product, Veeam ONE.
Yeah, exactly. Kirsten, Melissa, a couple other on our team, and to an extent me, we like to have fun with Veeam ONE. And that has taken a V10A upgrade as well. Now, by the way, shameless plug, myself, Kirsten, and Melissa on Twitter, we like to put out the Veeam ONE catch of the day hashtag. I still need to do it for today, but Veeam ONE COTD. If you want to check a good, easy way to find out what's going on with Veeam ONE. Because I guarantee you, Veeam ONE will always show you something about your environment that you didn't know and you need to fix. And we're even going to demo some of the new stuff here today. So the first thing I want to start with is what's new and improved. Now, there's a lot, and we're going to go through the KB here in a second. But the main thing to note is that our Veeam Backup for AWS version 2 is kind of fully incorporated now into Veeam Backup and Replication. So fully integrated AWS backups can be managed and deployed from Veeam Backup and Replication. Now, you're going to want to go to this specific KB here, which will give you that plugin to make that happen. But that's a really, really good, powerful way to start. Wow, you guys have responded to the map. We got New Hampshire, USA, France, Indiana, Florida. I think that's Central Florida, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Brazil, Greenville, Ohio. All right, Greenville. Turkey, Dublin, Ireland, Tucson, Arizona, Iran, UK, India, Canton, Ohio. All right, UAE, Romania, Lithuania, and Paramus, New Jersey. Welcome. Awesome. Keep those destinations coming. We love the digital map here, and great to see the different locales coming across the world. But, AWS integration was really one of the biggest new things, but probably one of the other more impactful things that come with the KB or the V10A is the platform support. Now, this is something Veeam takes really seriously. So when I say platform support, when you read release notes and stuff, you might confuse this with platform services, but no, platform support is very different and important. if you think about Veeam Backup and Replication, we're communicating to VMware, to Hyper-V, Windows Server, the Linux OSs, and all kinds of other platforms, storage systems, the cloud. Having a rapid support for a new release like the Windows 2004, the April short-term and long-term servicing cycle releases of Windows, for example. We'll go into the release notes and bring that up. But that type of stuff is really important, because when we say, yes, we support this Windows, it's both to back it up, to install the components upon, and full restore, because it's really an interesting matrix. Use it as a component, install Veeam on it, back it up, and the hypervisors that might be in play. It's really an interesting matrix. But probably the most attractive new thing is what I want to call serious performance improvements for the capacity tier, for pulling data out in particular. Some really, really fast ways to restore data. So great videos and blogs have been shared about the difference you can measure here. And then most importantly, anything post V10 GA, any fixes have been incorporated in there as well. So if you haven't done the CP 1 or 2, V10A will just take you right there. So what I want to do now is actually just open up the knowledge base article here. So the knowledge base article for V10A is 3228, right? So you can just go to veeam.com, KB 3228. I think the platform support's a great place to start, and this is one of those things that I mentioned, that Windows platform. So let's go right here. The Windows 10 version 2004 and the Windows short-term cycle 2004, both are in there. And it's as a guest, as a Hyper-V server, installing the components, and agent backup with Veeam Agent for Windows. I forgot about that. So the matrix for platform support is really significant. One other highlight here, vCloud Director 10.1, that's a new one. A lot of Linux support. I'll just make that a really big one, because all these different versions of Linux are supported as well, as we've upgraded. Kind of another interesting angle here on what is new with version V10A is performance on direct restore to Azure. I mentioned capacity tier improvement, right? So that's great. But also you can see some NAS backup awareness, right? Some new logic when files are not present in the cache. So in certain situations like that, you can back up directly to Azure without downloading them back to the file server. So some really intelligent enhancements here. And then probably you can make the argument this is somewhat related to platform support, but the storage integrations, there's new Snowball Edge support, which is pretty cool if you think about that, with user interface integration. And then Data Domain Boost SDK updated, Primera 4.2 support, and then ReFS integration, which is a really good way to have spaceless full backups on your storage systems with no additional Veeam cost. There's a new enhancement there for the configuration. Some licensing enhancements, which if you're subscribed to the forums, you kind of got a heads up on that. But probably the main thing I want to highlight here is over 1,200 minor enhancements and fixes based on GA. Now, this is really important, because there's a lot of customers using Veeam Backup and Replication. There's a lot of potential corner cases, right? All of those have kind of been bubbled up in the 7-8 months since we've been in GA. So a lot of those are in there. This replaces the cumulative patch 1 and 2. So that's going to be a really good starting point. You don't have to upgrade from V10's generally available release or the CP1 to enjoy it. But I should also highlight, this is probably the best part about it. You have to be on 9.5 update 3 or later. This is awesome. What do I mean by that? So if you haven't upgraded to version 10, you've been like waiting for the information, waiting for a compelling capability, or even update 4. So what's taking you so long? You can upgrade straight away from update 3 of 9.5. So that was what went available in late 2018, and then late 2019 was, late, if that's quite old, update 3. I don't even remember when update 3 went released, but V10 came available this year. Update 4 was late last year, and then or late in 2019, early 2019, and then update 3 would have been what was 2018's promotional release, right? So if you haven't upgraded for a while, now's a great time. So that's a quick rundown of the KB and kind of how to release it. And let's take a look at the map here. We've got a big shout out to Switzerland. In fact, Kirsten and I just shipped a package to Switzerland today. Panama, Barcelona, bienvenidos, Germany, San Diego, West Coast represent, South Africa, Vancouver, and Morocco. So we're filling in the map. And if you haven't dropped in your locale, please go ahead and do it. We love this mapchart.net capability that our team really enjoys. And, as you go east on the map, I got to give not wearing my hat, but I'll give you a hat tip. Friday night entertainment, where are you going to be? LinkedIn with Veeam. Love it. Love it. So, Kirsten, one of the things you like to do a lot is advise some people on how to do things with Veeam and how to upgrade, how to install. How would you describe what the steps are for people to do to upgrade to V10A?
Yeah, if you are a Veeam user and you've been using Veeam for a while now, you might think, oh, upgrading is, a couple clicks of the wizard. But if you're completely new to Veeam, you might be a little bit worried about, before you upgrade, about what platforms are supported. And it's really simple to, get started with upgrading. I would suggest first, going to helpcenter.veeam.com, especially if you're worried about what version of Veeam you're running and if the new upgrade will support that. And also checking out some of the other platform supports. Maybe you are using something like Veeam Availability for Nutanix and you're concerned, hey, maybe the upgrade isn't going to support that. If you go to the helpcenter.veeam.com, within the user guide, there is an upgrade checklist that you can actually go through and make sure and cross off each step as you go through before you perform the upgrade. That's where I would start first. But if for our seasoned Veeam users, they might not need to do that as well. But really getting started with the upgrading process, you're going to go to the Veeam downloads page and download the Veeam Backup and Replication or the Veeam Availability Suite ISO file. I think they might be two actually separate downloads. Is that right? Veeam ONE
For V10A, they are.
Okay.
I think they'll be consolidated at some point. But the individual KBs that we linked to, the one for BNR that we just did and the one for Veeam ONE that we'll get to, they're individual downloads.
Yes. So I would download the ISO file first. Then I would go into my backup and replication console and just make sure that every backup job and every replication job, backup copy job has finished successfully. So before I stop those jobs and perform the upgrade, so I have, successful backup file just in case something were to happen during the upgrade. Then I would stop all the jobs to make sure that, well, that's what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to stop all the jobs before you upgrade. And then you're going to mount the ISO and you're going to perform the upgrade through the setup wizard. As you go through the wizard, you can actually choose to update the remote components automatically. That makes things a little bit easier for you. And then click, 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 and you should be ready to go. And then when you actually open up the backup console again after the upgrade, you are going to see a little screen that pops up that says, are you ready to upgrade remote components? And you click yes, and these will be updated automatically. And before you're completely done with the upgrade, you want to make sure you actually go back in there and enable all your jobs again. You don't want to upgrade and then not enable them and then lose, your backup windows, your restore points or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kirsten. Couple of things that caught me there. One was on the Help Center, great set of technical documentation. The platform support, I talked about what's new here. If you are potentially on 9.5 update 4 or update 3, between then and now, there may have been some platforms that have dropped, say a very old version of vSphere or some of the Windows, for example. I believe Windows Server 2008 R2 would have been supported in Update 3, but it's not anymore as like a hypervisor, guest OS, etc. Definitely give a look at that. And then when it comes to the stopping the jobs and making sure those aren't running during the upgrade, that's important because the components will then be very confused if they start with this version of the proxy and it changes on them. And if you haven't used Veeam, now would be a great time to go download a trial, Veeam Community Edition, or a full-fledged evaluation of Veeam Backup and Replication and Veeam ONE. Those are all free and easy to start with at veeam.com. In fact, I think that's the best way to know if this is the right backup product for you. Give it a try in your own lab. So that's Veeam Backup and Replication, the upgrade process, some documentation about it, but we collectively talk about Veeam Availability Suite a lot. Does that have an update as well, Kirsten?
Yeah, and Veeam ONE is really there to support Veeam Backup and Replication and really give you visibility into your data protection jobs. So with 10A, Veeam ONE is going to support visibility into your Veeam Backup for AWS and Veeam Backup for Microsoft Azure backup jobs. So those cloud workloads you're using Veeam to back up, you'll actually get that visibility within Veeam ONE now. This is going to require, obviously, that your Veeam Backup and Replication server is updated to 10A, and you have the Veeam Backup for AWS plugin installed. The Veeam Backup for Microsoft Azure plugin, is it available yet, or is it not available yet?
It is, and in fact, I was just actually suggesting that we put some of these KBs in the links. Yeah, so yeah, we actually made sure this was all available when we decided to put this up on for this LinkedIn Live. But KB 3239 is that plugin, and then 3228, and Christian should share that for BNR. But yes, there's a couple of different KB articles to read, but the AWS plugin is indeed available now.
Yeah, so within Veeam ONE, you'll actually be able to see your cloud backup policies, see which machines are included in those, and get a little bit more information on the data protection status of those policies. There are also, along with protected virtual machines reports, unprotected virtual machines reports, a computer protection machines reports. We obviously want to make those reports available for your cloud-based workloads as well. So we added a report in there that you can set up and see how your cloud-based backup jobs are performing. There's also some licensing and security enhancements that were introduced with 10A, along with post V10 fixes as well, just making the product better and work better for you as we continue to introduce updates to Veeam ONE.
Quick feedback came in from Robert. Welcome, Robert. He said, FYI, you can't upgrade from V10A RTM to the V10A GA. That's a reinstall. One caution with RTMs and betas and etc. This is where you must have had some form of early access, service provider, customer prospect, etc. We, for example, our Vanguards, we issue out betas and RTMs as well, but GA products are guaranteed to have the upgrade path, and then anything preview may or may not. So release notes for RTMs are also very important as well. Good catch there, Robert. So what we're going to do now is a quick demo of Veeam ONE, and this is going to be fun because Kirsten's going to tell me what to do. So Kirsten, what do we want to look at?
So really where you're going to see this visibility is going to be in the data protection view. For those users that have used Veeam ONE before, this is going to look very familiar to you. You can see your overall job status. If you have any agents running in your environment, you'll see that, and then also our file backup job status as well, because we want to make sure that we're protecting our files as well. At the top, there's going to be actually a new tab. It's called Cloud Backup Policies. So if we click on that tab, you can see that we actually have one policy that we've created, and we have a couple machines that are being backed up in the policy. And this is using Veeam Backup for AWS today. This is the platform where the machines reside.
Oh, that's cool. I actually didn't catch that. So this is now for those of you keeping score at home, Veeam Backup for AWS is on version 2. So the plugin that goes into VBR and then Platform Services is available now for the AWS solution. So I guess it's only a matter of time before we see version 2 for Veeam Backup for Azure, but you can filter by the cloud. That is actually, if I don't mind saying myself, that is rather awesome right here like that. That's cool. So what do we do with this information, Kirsten?
So you can expand the policy and see, the virtual machines. These are actually protected by a snapshot job. So we can see our snapshots, they are finishing successfully for us, and we can see the date the last snapshot was taken.
What we're looking at here is the alarms for cloud native backups. So Kirsten, correct me if I'm wrong, what we saw was that in our cloud backup policies, the snapshots were not working, but the snapshots were
working, but our backup jobs were not ending. We're ending with errors.
Yeah, so let's figure out what exactly is going on. So what can we interpret from this? Looks like preparing the worker was our problem.
Yes.
So that sounds like, how we deploy Veeam Backup for AWS may have something not operating as expected, but we have visibility to that on premises. So that's really cool. And so, yeah, that's awesome.
What's cool too about these alarms within Veeam ONE is you can actually get them to be emailed to your inbox automatically when they are triggered. So instead of having to open up, maybe Veeam Backup and Replication or the Veeam ONE server, you can actually get those notified to you in your email. So if you see that pop up, then you can say, oh, now I have to go check my backup server. Maybe I need to go check Veeam ONE. So kind of streamline troubleshooting a bit there.
Yeah, so we can look at the definition of that alarm. And basically, this particular alarm that was triggered was called Cloud Backup Policy Session State. And then from there, I can take an alarm and put some notifications such as email, but I could also do things like running script or paging people, those types of things if we want to really get serious with it. Pretty cool. Question from Naresh. How much time is needed when it stops to upgrade the completed jobs and start? Oh, that's a good question, Naresh. So I did this just the other day with V10A. That rhymes. You get that on Fridays for free with Veeam LinkedIn. But I was able to upgrade in about 20 minutes. And that's, it's a pretty complicated environment. This is a different one that we have here in the lab. 20 minutes for me. I did have to spend about 2 minutes stopping jobs, but your mileage may vary, but that's what I had to deal with. Robert asks, where can we purchase Veeam swag? Robert, not today, but stay tuned. We're scheming something for a Veeam shop. Didn't hear it from me. Good stuff. So, Kirsten, what else do we want to look at here with the new cloud integration within Veeam ONE V10A?
Yeah, so if you go to the Reports tab, you're going to see that there's a new little section that you can select as well. I believe it's called Public Cloud Data Protection.
Yeah, and you even told me to leave that logged in, and I didn't listen to you, so sorry about that.
Yep. So you can run the Protected VMs report there, and this is just a report that's going to let you know what machines are protected, which machines are unprotected, that's in your environment, and a little bit more details as well that you can take a look at and
so
analyze.
that'll look at all of the Amazon EC2 instances and tell me what is and is not backed up.
Yeah, so you can see which machines are being backed up so you can see how many machines are meeting their backup recovery objectives, and also what machines are not being protected by any backup jobs.
Yeah, well. This is cool. We have this capability for virtual machines on premises. So you can see that there are 4 virtual machines that are unprotected. And then we also go to the other page and we'll see that these 2 are pretty cool. And it even tells you what AWS region it's in, which we're in US East Ohio. Why would you go anywhere else? But anyways, that's pretty cool. So thanks for the quick tour here of Veeam ONE with Kirsten. So we're gonna kind of wrap up here, and let's get to the map here one more time. And as we get close to finishing up, we have 4 new places. Quebec. Ha, Kirsten and I just mailed something out to Quebec today as well. No joke. Kuwait, Tunisia, and Guadalajara. Bienvenidos, mi amigos de Mexico. And awesome. So thank you again for pushing your location into the map. And one thing I want to highlight is that next week we have the Honorable Dave Russell and the also Honorable Jason Buffington going to give us a session about, and I actually forget what it's about. Do you remember what that's about, Kirsten? Now I'm drawing a blank. What are they talking about? Oh, that's right. Software-defined bias versus the appliance favor and favoritism, right? When it comes to backup storage. I think that it's actually really important because Jason and Dave are both former industry analysts, and that is a really good perspective that they can bring. So same time, Monday, and let's hope we don't have the glitch. But on behalf of the Veeam Global Marketing team that helped us produce here, I got one final question from Robert. Can you share anything on the Veeam agent for Mac that is slated to be released? Well, it just went into beta on Wednesday. I can share you that, Robert. So bug your systems engineer if you really want to play with it. Also, will we ever see Veeam for Office 365 integrated and managed inside of the VBR console? Good question, Robert. Now, I will tell you, Veeam Backup and Replication, especially for Veeam Explorer for Exchange, and Veeam Backup for Office 365 have shared technology, but they're not necessarily integrated, and that's good and intentional because they move at different paces. You'll see VBO, as I call it, probably have 2 or 3 releases a year, and then you'll see VBR have one kind of feature release a year, and then the platform support or A's or CP type releases through the year. It's very important because they have different teams to have the cadence. So will I see it fully integrated? The proverbial single pane of glass, I don't see it happening, but I don't see a reason for it also just yet. And if you think Veeam products are too hard to use that way, send me an email and we'll talk. All right. Well, thanks again for attending this LinkedIn Live. Kirsten, thanks for helping us out here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I always love, being live on LinkedIn. It's a great time.
Is it? It is.
Yes, definitely.
Well, it's let's just say it's truly live. And for those of you who stayed with us through the glitch, I appreciate that. Wayne, I got something private for you. I can't share it here, but hit me up privately, Rick Vanover on Twitter. All right. Thanks for attending, everyone. That concludes today's broadcast.